Hello and welcome to GSPN Gyro Step Podcast Network live pre-game 4 on YouTube yet again. I am Windisch of the Gyro Step Podcast, joined by Rohan Katti of the Gyro Step Podcast and Adam McGee of the Win in 6 Podcast. We are without Jordan Tresky, who is buzzing through the air in and around Fiserv Forum in a bit. So old, a lot of these viewers probably don't have any idea what I'm talking about, but if you do, congrats. You've been sticking with us for a long time. Fellas, as we head into Game 4, the most important Bucks game of the last 47 years. We'll get into that in 1 second, but how are we feeling?
Floor is yours, Rohan.
I'm feeling okay. I'm ready. It's been a large gap between games, a whole 2 days. So I'm very, very ready for basketball. I don't know how I'm going to deal in the next upcoming months that I don't want to think about because there's not going to be any basketball because this is the last series. So I'm doing okay, but also impending doom. I just realized right now.
I'm good with there being no basketball soon. I have absolutely no problem with that. Hopefully the Bucks are the last team standing, and that's all I've ever wanted all along. So I'm perfectly happy to live with that. I'm feeling good. I was feeling good a couple of days ago about where the Bucks would be coming into this game. Guess what? Still feeling good. I think we're in for a good night.
I have to agree with Adam. Rohan knows this from our last pod. I'm weirdly high on the Bucks. I'm just all in now. I believe in them. We'll get into another take from that pod in a second. But, Rohan, you're taking issue with my tweet that tonight's Game 4, down 2-1 in Fiserv Forum, is the most important Bucks game of the last 47 years. You're saying it's only been a couple days. Why are you hating?
I'm not. Well, first of all, it's not hate. Second of all, it's just semantics, really. If you're saying each game is the most important game in the last 47 years, that does technically mean that the last game was the most important. So
now is the last game was game 3. This is game 4. We're one step closer to
So the most recent important game was game 3.
Yeah, but that's gone now. So Ty is right. This is the most important game.
No, that's fair.
Well,
but if that's the most important game, it's only been 2 days since the last most important game.
It's still, the fact still stands. Game 4 of the 2021 NBA Finals is the most important game the Bucks have played since Game 7 of the 1974 Finals.
No, not...
I actually think that stands. That was a Game 7 of an NBA Finals.
Yeah, I think it's like...
yeah, I think I've won.
Game 7 and 74, it's like...
If you said Game 3
game 2,
was the
game
most
3,
important
game 4,
game of the last
5.
47 years, how is... And Game 4 is the most important game of the last 47 years. That can be true.
You don't know how much space is in between them.
That can be true. Both of these statements can be true.
This is just great content. Great content.
It's also the most important game since Game 3. It's the most important
there hasn't
game
been another game
of the last 47 years, but the most important since Game 3.
Well, yeah, I didn't say since.
Yeah. I'm not arguing that Game 3.5 was actually more important.
Media availability yesterday during the MLB All-Star festivities is right up there.
I want to just, in the chat, I see Reva asked, does Jordan have the same bad luck as Ty? Jordan has not been to a Bucks loss in at least 5 years. Jordan has incredible luck that I'm knocking on wood right now.
Same.
It's been very good. He's been to plenty of big games in that time too, and it's all come true. So hopefully that holds up. We would not have let him go if he had Ty's luck. There's a reason Ty is here on the podcast.
It's Jordan versus the TikTok dog now. Have you guys seen this?
Yes.
The TikTok dog, it bounces a ball and it lands in 2 cans. Suns or Bucks, 1 for each game of the series. So it's been right so far. Suns take 2, Bucks take 1. But the TikTok dog has the Suns take. So either Jordan has more meme power or the TikTok dog will get an answer tonight. Adam, you're wearing a Brook Lopez jersey. I don't know if
I
you
am.
wanted to be called out for that, but talk about the importance of the big fella, assuming we get more DeAndre Ayton. I've pivoted us to talking about the games now instead of
It's a good call.
this nonsense. So, how important is Brook Lopez going to be, assuming Ayton plays more than 4 minutes in a second half?
Well, I've been talking relentlessly about Brook Lopez for a week now. I've been stopping strangers on the street, asking if they'd like to talk about our Lord and Savior, Brook Lopez.
How does that go in
And
Ireland?
people look very confused, very confused. And I did kind of plan on not talking about Brook Lopez as much and instead just coming to the show in costume so people could see the point. They can't quite see, but there's the number 11. It is a Brook Lopez jersey. It's not just about Brook, though, and DeAndre Ayton. I think it's the front court, and it's particularly after all of the noise about Giannis's free throws. It's about how Ayton plays in this game, how the refs decide to call this game in terms of the contact that's coming from Giannis. I extend it beyond Ayton too, because maybe Ayton doesn't get in foul trouble again. If he doesn't, though, I'd be surprised if someone like Jay Crowder doesn't. So I'm curious to see just how it plays out in that kind of front court battle. One part of it, obviously, we've been over this 100 times, is going to be, what kind of minutes are there for Brook? That's going to depend, though, on what kind of Bobby we see. Again, this is a home game. The crowd are going to want Bobby. Bobby's going to be into it. If he can produce positively like he did in game 3, I think he'll get quite a lot of minutes again. But I think we all share a feeling that there's just something to be a little bit wary about with how it unfolded in game 3 with Bobby. There's a better balance to be struck that with Brook. Brook has played pretty well throughout this series. He's played very well throughout this whole playoff run. And yeah, I guess it could well come down to, if Ayton's playing more, that will also affect Bobby. Maybe that forces Bud into playing Brook some more, because you're going to need that extra size for rebounding on both ends, particularly late in the game.
This matchup, as we've talked about this entire series, is going to come down to how well the Bucks can use their size in this series, and that ultimately comes down to DeAndre Ayton, like you were mentioning, Adam. It's going to come down to how many minutes is he going to play? Is he going to get into foul trouble? Like, these are the main points that we have been talking about, and Adam, you just outlined it. These things are really important. It's going to be one thing to watch for. I think it's the most important thing to watch for as we look into game 4 coming up here shortly. But yeah, that's going to be the first thing I'm looking for, is how well is DeAndre Ayton holding up? Is he going to be playing a lot more? How many fouls does he get quickly? Are the Bucks going to attack him to try to get him into foul trouble early? That's what I'm going to be looking for right away.
Yeah, I'm glad Brett brought it up, because I was just about to go there as well. The Bobby Giannis lineup. That's one that I do think, in some ways, it's kind of the best of both worlds, of going small. Because you get Giannis out there to defend the rim, and obviously Giannis is a great defender anywhere, but can certainly defend the rim. And you get Bobby to kind of help with rebounding and also provide more offensive punch. I know Zach Lowe, as Brett did mention, did kind of... Zach Lowe seemed high on Bobby Portis, which I did not necessarily expect, but it feels good to have Zach Lowe like a Bucks player like that we're not even always sure of, some of us more than others. But I don't know. I like those lineups. I would rather... It feels like, to me, maybe it'll change as Giannis feels better throughout the series, but the smaller lineups than that, where it's like Giannis, PJ, Pat, and the other two of the big three, they're too small. And I think we've seen those lineups lose games because they can't rebound. So, Rohan, what are your thoughts on the Giannis-Bobby combo when Brook is sitting? You're muted. There we go.
Nice call there. I think Zach Lowe, like you mentioned, brought it up really well. I think they are, I just pulled it up, they are plus 44 in these playoffs so far as a duo. And especially like you highlighted with Brook Lopez not there, it provides a little bit more punch in terms of speed and versatility defensively, which we've talked about. Brook Lopez, fine, it works, it's good. It can be better. I think that's the main key that we can talk about here. Brook Lopez, he's very important. He gets a lot done. He should be playing more. I am in total agreement with that. But these Portis-Giannis lineups, they have been dominant in the minutes that Portis is sitting for a reason. Because Bobby Portis brings more, you can switch and be more comfortable, whether that's a valid argument or not, depending on whether Brook Lopez is actually trusted to switch. That's a different question. But in these lineups, when Portis and Giannis are on the court together, good things happen. The crowd gets into it, especially at home. Giannis seems to like getting Bobby involved. Bobby likes playing with Giannis. It's just like these two just feed into each other so well, and they've developed a really nice chemistry as these playoffs have gone on, which is really interesting because they didn't play a whole lot together during the regular season. We didn't see those sort of minutes. We mainly saw Bobby as a backup five and not really play a ton with Giannis. So it's really nice seeing them develop this chemistry, and it's all coming together at the perfect time, which is the NBA Finals.
The one concern I have, and the one thing that I found a little bit surprising about just how high-low was on that, and I think what I'd be wary of on the emphasis on just how good that two-man lineup has been, is Bobby didn't play a whole lot before game 3. So this is really a very small sample size, and it's riding off the back of one particularly strong run, which is why this is a big game, because if they show that with Bobby and Giannis on the floor together, they can do the same thing again today. Honestly, it's a game changer for the series. You know, it could be the decisive factor in the series if they can put together a similar run, and it's something that can be relied upon. But I mean, in total, how many minutes do you think those two guys have shared the floor in the final so far?
Like 20?
23 minutes.
Pretty close.
Which, just as a point of reference, and this is amazing, I didn't know this until I pulled up two-man lineups. Jeff Teague and Bobby Portis, you know, that lineup that we really, I don't know how many times I've said just don't play them together. They've played 18 minutes together in the finals. They have the second best net rating of any Bucks two-man lineup. The Bucks have a net rating of 36.3. 36.3 points better than the Suns per 100 possessions when Jeff Teague and Bobby Portis are on the floor together. The only Bucks two-man lineup with a better net rating is, of course, the Bucks' two best players, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Jeff Teague. Jeff Teague is the net rating king. When Jeff Teague's on the floor, things are going well.
Shout out to the Phoenix Suns bench. I thought Mohammed made a really good point, or asked a really good question about the barrier. I said really good point.
Thank you. Thank you, Mohammed.
Exactly.
Thank you.
As soon as I saw barrier, I was like, oh, I have to throw this to Rohan or Adam. But that was the talking point after the last game. Clearly, they need to find something to do against Giannis. Even if they want to, you know, concede more open jumpers to the Bucks, shaky shooters, wall off Giannis. Is it even an option for Phoenix at this point? Like, do they have... I feel like they've... It's not like they've not been trying to do that. I just feel like they can't do it well.
You're like the entire consensus around that question is saying like, oh, Phoenix hasn't been trying to stop Giannis this entire series. They've just been letting him waltz into 40-point games back to back, just setting finals records and stuff. Like, nah, they just don't care. They're letting him get his, trying to clamp up the role play. No, obviously they're trying to stop Giannis. It's the same dynamic that we've been talking about throughout this postseason. These teams are not equipped with multiple all-time defenders in order to construct a barrier. You know, like that's why the Toronto series went the way it did. That's why the Heat series went the way it did, because they have multiple super elite defenders on their team that can make the right reads, make the right rotations, make that sort of thing work. Phoenix, like not every team they don't have that. Brooklyn definitely didn't have it. Like Phoenix doesn't have it. Atlanta didn't have it. It's just certain teams have the ability to do so. Theoretically, Phoenix has the ability to do so. They have long arm guys like Mikal Bridges. They have guys like Jay Crowder. But the thing is, Mikal Bridges, if you want to make him the focal point of that because he is the longest guy out there, I mean, have you seen his arms? It's just take a possession and just watch Mikal Bridges walk. It is one of the most entertaining things I've ever seen. But that's besides the point. He's not strong enough. He's a good defender, a great defender. I said he should have been an all defensive player this year. it just doesn't work against Giannis. That you just requires certain types of defenders, and Phoenix doesn't have that. So even if they wanted to construct a barrier, they can't really do it super effectively.
It's down to strength. It's Aiton just isn't quite strong enough yet. I wouldn't put it past him getting there in a couple of years' time. Jay Crowder is their best option for that reason. Like, Mikal Bridges is not strong enough for all of the length he has. It's just a very simple matter of Giannis can just kind of barrel through him. And that's a real problem. And with a lot of teams, what you'd have is, even the Bucks have come up against this, where an opposing team might have like an Aaron Baines on the bench, someone who is an old-fashioned, quite limited defender in a lot of ways, but they're strong. They'll be positionally savvy, and it could cause Giannis problems from time to times. Other times it ends up with just endless posters. But Baines is an interesting example of a defender who can, within the same game, get absolutely torched by Giannis and also could put together a string of possessions. Suns don't even have that. They don't have that. They're going to Frank Kaminsky, which is just, it's a no contest. So that's where the problem comes. The Suns just don't have the strength inside to really compete with them. They don't even have the strength that the Hawks had. Maybe Saric isn't this kind of player, but maybe Saric could have sneakily kind of held his own a little bit better than some of those options in a way that, say, we saw Gallo, not that he ended up on Giannis very often, but just he has a sort of strength now. But it's clutching at straws when you're getting to this point of being like, just who's somewhat strong enough that they might be able to hold their own, because there's not really an ideal matchup anymore.
Yeah, and I think Giannis being better and Giannis playing more like a center have a lot to do with that. I mean, I think Phoenix's barrier would look a lot more like Miami's last year if Giannis was starting possessions at the top of the key and just trying to barrel through Crowder and Ayton and Bridges' arms that go on for centuries. But he's starting in the post when he has a mismatch. He's running pick and rolls. He's executing dribble handoffs. It's like those elements that we had been wanting to see, at least in part, for years. They've made him unguardable. Like, all of a sudden, the Bucks are getting him to his spots with just a little bit of help. Just a little bit. And once he's there, there's nothing the other team can do. And I think, you could have better personnel. I think there's still teams that could give him more problems than Phoenix. But I do think the way Giannis is playing, I'm not saying every series would have been different, but it would have looked a lot better for the Bucks, even if they still lose in the end. Like, this is so much harder to guard than what we would see in years past. And I think that's the difference between, whatever he would average in a series against the barrier versus 2 straight 40 burgers coming off of a hyperextended knee. Like, there's no comparison. This version of Giannis and the Bucks is infinitely more dangerous. That's the reason why they're here, 3 wins away from a championship.
It's playing more like a center, as you put it, because if he's screening more often, that means he's going to catch the ball on the move more often. And if he's in motion, you just can't set the wall in place. Sorry, the barrier. I can't believe you have to do this. Like teams were able to do in the past when he just take it and he tried to dribble the air of the ball from the perimeter, and you're like, we all know what's coming here. You're giving enough time for not even 4, so it's like 5 defenders to just come across and basically join hands to block off the paint. If he's working in the pick and roll, he's working as a screener, he's catching the ball on the move. And that's a big difference. And it doesn't have to happen every time, because the threat of that even opens up some more room for him to get higher quality looks to attack a little bit more easily off some of the kind of looks that would have caused him problems against, say, the Heat a year ago or against the Raptors before that.
Adam, you're a hater.
Why? Because I say Wall?
Yeah. No, I can't believe we have to do this. It's just, you're just a hater.
No arguments here. I mean, I don't like the score predictions. I don't like the wall. Or the barrier, I should say. I have no problem with the wall. We've conquered the wall. The wall has come crashing
shall not
down.
Be named.
Yeah, I have no fear. This is the difference between you and I.
Oh my, I just got a tweet from @MattPick6. Crowd pick, looking at the court, pretty standard. The text: At Ty Windisch, hope you aren't here. Go Bucks, go.
It's
I'm
fair.
not there. I'm not there. Don't worry, everyone. Don't worry.
You want to know who is there though? There's a lot of Bucks legends in the house. Where's the official list here? We got Kareem in there. We got Junior Bridgman. We got John McLaughlin, Oscar Robertson. We got Marcus in there. Everyone's there.
That's cool.
Who else is there? John Calipari's there. Dave Chappelle is there.
It's not that far from Ohio.
Chris Tucker is there.
Okay.
Sure.
Just
I
interesting.
don't know how
Chance
much
the
longer
Rapper.
you should go with this list. It's losing some steam.
Chance the
Little bit.
Rapper, Craig Counsell,
Oh, okay.
Donald Driver,
Okay.
Zadarius Smith, Cheryl Crow. Oh, did I mention Michael Redd?
No, I don't think so.
You did, yeah.
Is Jordan going to ask Sheryl Crow about the collab in person?
I think
I'm
so.
sure Jordan's sitting beside her, in the good seats.
Look for the propeller head.
He's just going to spin up there.
Exactly.
So, Mohammed followed up with another good question. Is there anything that you don't want to see the Bucks/Bud do tonight? We got a couple the play/Bryn Forbes responses right away.
I actually want them to do that so we can hear the meltdown on the post.
I might have to do a Twitter space right as it's starting to happen, just so I can yell and people can hear it in real time. Also, I'm behind, so it won't make sense to anyone. But shortening the bench and really not even shortening the bench as much as not playing 3 bench players together in the third quarter, I feel like is what
I've changed my mind though. He needs to play Teague and Portis together. Clearly,
There's something there.
the numbers tell me that's
They don't lie.
that's just dynamite.
So
Also,
that's 2. We can stick with 2, just not 3.
Rohan, you've been asked if by the uncontested, our friends covering the OKC Thunder, if you missed the jersey memo tonight.
See, the thing is, I
There we
don't
go.
own any Bucks jerseys. That's the thing.
That'll do it.
I'm not a jersey guy.
This is my third. I got the Giannis now. Oh, wrong way. You can kind of see it. I went and got it in a store because I wanted to make sure I had one for this game. My other
Nice,
two are
proud
out
of
of
you.
commission. Both L's. Sorry, J.O.B. Sorry, Malcolm Brogdon. Can't wear them. I don't even remember buying the Brogdon jersey. I'm still not sure how that happened, but
Is that a fear to deer? Black?
no, my lighting's just bad. It's the
No, the
associate-
No,
Brogdon.
the Brogdon jersey.
Oh no, the J.O.B. one is.
Oh, okay. I knew you'd got one of those. Yeah, likewise, this arrived today, my Brook Lopez jersey. The past week or so, 10 days, this was when Brook was having, it might have been his first quarter of what became the Brook game against the Hawks. That's when I pressed purchase on this. I've since done that multiple times for book stuff. This is becoming a very expensive run. I don't know if it's good for me if the Bucks win a championship anymore, because then you've got Champions gear you've got to buy. But yeah, likewise. I mean, I couldn't break out the Grievous Vasquez jersey. It would just bring too much bad energy.
Yeah, uncontested guys said we've got to make you a jersey guy. We'll fix this at Summer League. We'll see which one of you is running this account right now.
Ooh, Reva's got a terrible city T-shirt designed by Ryan and Six. That's a fun one.
Ooh, that is.
I feel like
Unretire 33 rather.
Oh, I want to have this conversation.
I'm not
before
touching
we
that
wrap.
one.
I want to have the conversation.
No, I plan on having this conversation over many hours in the offseason.
Oh, you want to save the content?
Well, we can have the conversation.
We can
but
tease the content.
Oh, I think we're all going to be in pretty rapid agreement that that's silly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's silly.
Oh no, Adam.
No.
Adam thinks
yeah.
it's incredibly
Silly
silly.
is-
Adam thinks it's incredibly silly.
Silly is the nicest and the best way I could possibly put it. So I was letting Ty's words do the talking for me there because it was for the best.
It's just no one. I think we're spoiled by Giannis. No one is perfect in how they handle things like leaving a team, what they say.
This is
after
not a
leaving said team.
5-minute before tip in game
No,
4
we're
of the
not.
finals conversation.
Let's table this conversation.
This is not.
Okay, we can
There's
table
so
it.
much people don't know, is what I feel like now, and it's the Bucks' fault. The Bucks have not done a good enough job telling their own history, of telling Kareem's history. Kareem had quite the life when he was living in Milwaukee. People take the one quote and they're like, "Oh, he wanted to go to a city that was culturally compatible." there was some stuff going on.
Yeah.
But that is literally for another podcast. I'm gonna make it happen, people.
Yes, we do have a question here from the uncontested guys again. Actual Bucks question: how do you feel Bud has done so far in the series? Do you think he and the Bucks still part ways even if the Bucks win? Like Dwayne Casey, Toronto, no, he's staying, and I'm not even mad about it.
Yeah, I think at this point there's no way, and I'm not.
I think he's done well.
I still would need to see the end of the series, but at this point I wouldn't hate it. Even though, as my buddy Cy pointed out, I think I do have Budenholzer Stockholm syndrome, but he's still done fairly. He's done pretty well.
It's we're not seeing anything egregiously bad like we have in previous years, which I guess
The other thing with him in his time with the Bucks is, like, we're now seeing a point where he is adjusting, and he's adjusting well game to game, a lot of elements. The team has evolved year to year, so I have no doubt that they will come back a different team next year under Bud. They will try some new stuff regardless. I don't know how everyone's going to feel about that, but he has a pretty good record in his time in Milwaukee of finding something and coming back the next year and trying something new. And I mean, the last season was the one that really kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. But there's a whole lot else that went into last season that it's a kind of a tough one to examine on the end point of that season.
You know what I realized with Bud the other day? Remember when we first got hired, we were all excited about Wing University coming to Milwaukee. All those wings in Atlanta. And it's like, oh, Sterling Brown is gone. What happened to that? There's so much for that. I realized Pat Connaughton graduated from Wing University. I had never put that together before.
Yeah.
He became like basically the Damari Carroll of this Bucks team. So
what the key difference there is that the Bucks front office have just picked up absolute trash wings. There's just nothing you can do with them. Seriously, that's like Sterling is an exception to that, where you could look at Sterling, and I think we all did at some time, be like, he could be made into something. That just didn't quite pan out. But generally, the Bucks haven't done as good a job drafting wings. They haven't picked up the kind of Kent Bazemore, Damari Carroll kind of guys that Bud and his assistants turned into quality starters in Atlanta. So yeah, that's the thing with Wing University. But yeah, you're right. Pat strides. Maybe
Jordan Warrior, your time is coming.
Let's hope so.
Don't tempt me. That's exciting.
Hey, he's made more threes in the finals than Melo.
Oh, man.
I think I used that one already.
Yeah, I think you're going to use it a couple more times. So, before I hand it off to Rohan, should we talk? We're not doing score predictions.
No.
Pre-game vibes. I agree with that. We kind of started with this, but I think they're going to do it both tonight and the series.
Mm-hmm.
I think whoever wins this game wins the series, and I think the Bucks are winning this game.
I
That's
know
so confident that where was that energy at the start, Rohan?
I don't know.
He heard about Pat going to Wing U, and all of a sudden
That's
he thought
it.
about flash forward to the jersey retirement, and he said, you know what, they're going to do it.
Every time.
I stand by my take that they could win down 3-1.
You had to bring this up at the end.
Well, we had a
These
lot
are
of
the
stuff
two
to
things
cover.
he brings up now. It feels like this is going to be hopefully this isn't an every podcast thing, because I'd like us to be, all tied up at 2-2 and not having to talk about this later this evening. But I don't think there's been a single podcast now where you haven't leaned into Pat's jersey retirement sits.
Me?
Yeah.
It's a great bit.
Yeah, you love it.
I do.
No one else does.
That's fine.
I agree. Just
No one else agrees with it, I'll say that.
I agree. Let me finish this sentence.
He's talking about
I agree with your 3-1 take, Ty. You go down 3-1, you're very likely to lose. This Bucks team is a team, and with Giannis as the best player in the
That's the
series,
thing.
where you just can't rule it out. Nothing is impossible, and I think they're playing pretty well. We'll see how this game goes, but I have a lot of confidence. I think there's plenty of reason to be confident.
Well, I think that's a great place to wrap up this live. We're all feeling confident. We're all feeling confident heading into Game 4. Hopefully, everyone
What
out
could
there
possibly go wrong?
Why
That's a
would
loaded
you
question.
ask
I had
that
to.
question?
This is you've got to bring the Bucks. We've got to bring ourselves down just a little bit. It wouldn't be healthy to be way up there.
Tweet. Tap the sign.
Yes, exactly.
You know what else you should tap? You should tap the subscribe button
Oh.
if you're not subscribed to this. Adam, don't you dare. You sh- if you're watching this live right now and you are not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our content that we're doing here on the YouTube channel. Make sure you are also subscribed to the Gyro Step Podcast Network on your podcast platform of choice. We're going to be hitting you with a post-game pod as we usually do. That'll hit your feeds right away if you're subscribed. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you enjoy the game. Go Bucks. We'll talk to you after the game.